Bet the Breeders' Cup with the DRF app. The Daily Racing Form app is a highly rated, powerful tool that makes handicapping and wagering fast and easy, putting you in position to win big at the races. Register today to double your first deposit up to $250. Get the DRF app now. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 8 at Keeneland on Breeders' Cup Friday is the Grade 1 $2 million Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Let's throw up the field. It is a sensational race, but the key to this race, Mike, is the 7. Princess Nora. When you just watch her glide through the stretch in her 3 impressive victories, you're saying, this filly's a superstar. She must be running giant speed figures. And then you look at the cold dope, and her best buyer speed figures is 79. What gives?
Yeah, that's the whole key to the race. What gives? Do you believe, what you're seeing visually on the track? Because you're absolutely correct that she's been extremely visually impressive, just trouncing fields in Southern California. Or do you believe in the figures, Dan? Because if you believe in the figures, she's not fast enough to beat this field. She's going to have to really improve to get ahead of 4 of her main rivals in here.
Let's talk about some of the horses in here that are going to be contesting the pace. Timeform US's pace projector has the 2 horses coming out of the Frisette, Vequist, the runner-up, and the winner, Day Out of the Office, on the early lead. I wouldn't be surprised if the aggressive Louis Saez, however, takes advantage of the inside post with Simply Ravishing, who is just a gate-to-wire winner over course and distance in the Alcibiades.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Louis does like to be aggressive, and I do think he'll probably want to secure the rail. That doesn't mean he has to be on the lead to secure it, but he might wind up there. I sort of feel like Vequist, the 2, might get a bit of a more aggressive ride from Rosario this time after, failing to make up any stretch ground on Day of the Office last time in the Frisette. I felt like maybe that horse would go forward. It's going to be very interesting to see how the tactics play out.
Let's watch Simply Ravishing's win in the Alcibiades. She got a great ride from Saez this stage, just getting to the front, backing down the fractions to 48-2, and they weren't going to catch her, A, the way this track was playing, B, the way this race unfolded. You're going to see Crazy Beautiful getting up into second, the gray horse. Maybe she was pace compromised, but it's hard to knock Simply Ravishing. 3 starts, a win in a turf route, a win in an off-the-turf dirt sprint, and a Grade 1 win over this track.
I think she's looked good in all 3 of her races. And she has the benefit of having won from on and off the pace. She has the benefit of having a win over course and distance already. And she has the benefit of running a very fast race last time as well, Dan. I mean, I realized that she was probably just too good for that field, and she controlled the action from start to finish. But she never got out of a gallop in there. I thought she was very impressive winning the Alcibiades.
Vequist won the Grade 1 spin away 2 starts back as a maiden by a country mile, an impressive performance going 7. Last time out in the Frisette, she ran into Day Out of the Office. Let's watch that race because we're going to talk about Day Out of the Office next. And Day Out of the Office got the jump on her turning into the stretch. Vequist gives no quarter, though, Mike. I love the try that this Nyquist filly shows in the lane. She's never going to win, but she never gives up.
No, I agree. And I say that as someone who didn't really like her that much heading into the Frisette. And listen, she's not gaining any ground on Day Out of the Office in the stretch, but she's not given any either. I mean, she really held her position very well in there. And I did think it was a nice step in the right direction. She won the Grade 1 spin away in her second career start, and she ran fine in there, don't get me wrong, but that was a terrible running of the spin away. I mean, it was just a very bad field. So that she won easily didn't really impress me that much. She impressed me a little bit last time. I thought she ran very well.
It might have been a subpar edition of the spinaway simply because Day Out of the Office decided to skip the race. She won her first 2 starts, including the Schuylerville, usually a prelude to the spinaway at Saratoga. Trainer Tim Ham decided, I want a fresh horse for the fall. So he came back in the Frisette, stretched her out a quarter of a mile off a little bit of a layoff, and the mile, at least going 1 turn, wasn't a problem that day. She looked very good. Speaking of figs, she got the big fig, and she's going to be forwardly placed. I think she can get the mile in a 16th, and if she runs that last buyer, she's going to be real tough.
I agree. I see no reason why she won't get the mile in a 16th 2 turns. She's run really well in all 3 of her races. And I guess, I can understand them spacing those races out intentionally. It certainly worked for her. Now she's going to come back without a break, but I don't think that's going to be a problem for her, Dan. She's very tactical. She has a lot of speed, but she does not need the lead. And I just think she's run really well all 3 times.
Thoughtfully, the number 4 is going to be the longest shot on the board, but she is not without talent. I really liked her debut win at Churchill Downs, going 5.5 furlongs, where she got right up close to the pace and then was ridden out under a very confident Ricardo Santana. Asmussen found a great spot in the Adirondack, and she ran away from those overmatched horses in the stretch. And in the Alcibiades, if you want to say it was first time 2 turns, she caught a hot horse that controlled a slow pace fine. She's going to have to move forward a little bit, but she's got some talent, and there's probably a race for her at least down the road.
Yeah, I agreed that her debut was nice. She won the Grade 2 Adirondack in her second start. And she won that race very easily as well, Dan. It just came back such a slow race that it, sort of made you have concerns, I think, about her going forward. And listen, she wasn't going to beat Simply Ravishing last time, but she didn't really run well at all. It's not like she had some kind of trip excuse in there. She just wasn't good enough.
I think there's a chance that this pace could heat up with the 1, the 2, and the 3 jockeying for position going into the first turn. And if that's the case, I think Girl Daddy might be the strongest closer of any in this field. I really liked her win in the Pocahontas last time out for Dale Romans. She didn't break very well. Joe Talamo was able to get her into position on the outside. And once she took over the lead, yes, Crazy Beautiful had to be kind of held up just in behind her for a little bit, but Crazy Beautiful was never getting to Girl Daddy once Girl Daddy shook clear an upper stretch. This is a nice filly, and Dale seems to know what he's doing. He's had a plan all along. Keep her fresh. Don't run her in the Alcibiades. Run her in the Breeders' Cup off the bench.
Yeah, she's very interesting. I agree. She's just looked really good to me winning both of her starts. I just like the way that she gets herself into the race, basically on her own power, Dan. She comes up on the turn on these horses, and she just drags her rider there, and then she still has a finish at the end. I like both of her starts. I will say that in both of her starts so far, she hasn't gotten out of the gate that sharply, and that could be a problem. You don't want to break slowly against these horses, but I feel like if she gets the right trip in here, she can go with these horses.
I thought Crazy Beautiful was so impressive in winning the Ellis Park Debutante 3 starts back, a race in which she didn't break very well, was bumped extremely hard on the turn, had to angle down to the inside. She was just much the best that day. And in the Pocahontas, Girl Daddy got the jump on her. She was in behind horses a little bit. In the Alcibiades, we saw her chase Simply Ravishing throughout. I think she has some ability. I'm beginning to wonder if maybe she'll be more effective at slightly shorter distances.
Yeah, I wonder that too. I also wonder whether or not they'll ever go back to turf with her because, and listen, I think her dirt races are fine. I think she's far from impossible in this race at a big price. I just feel like I would have been a little more interested in her if they ran her in the turf race because this race came up so strong that it just feels like she's going to have to take a huge step forward to win it.
And here's the horse we are all going to be watching. Princess Noor, a $1.35 million 2-year-old in training by the red-hot first crop sire, Not This Time. She makes it 3 for 3 and successfully navigating 2 turns in this race. The Grade 2 Chandelier. She was down inside early. Victor Espinoza got her into the clear, and just watch her glide on home. And this is what she's done in all 3 of her starts. It's just poetry in motion for Princess Noor, gliding away from the field, only a 78 buyer. This is obviously a step up in class. She'll be facing tougher competition for the first time. If she can run faster, she's going to win. She has the look of a star.
She does. She's very visually impressive. I particularly like her last race, Dan, because that was obviously the first time they stretched her out. They could have made the lead with her in there. She broke from the rail and she was fine. They didn't want the lead with her. They let somebody else have it. It did not matter. She absolutely dusted that field. The problem is she's 9 to 5 on the morning line. And that's all well and good if you're just looking at her visually, but she's 9 to 5 on the morning line against a really good field. And again, against 4 horses who are faster than she is. Not 1, not 2. 4 of these horses are already faster than she is. It makes it, in my opinion, it makes it really hard to take a short price on her. I'm not going to be surprised when she wins, but I kind of feel like if she is sub 2 to 1 in here, you're probably supposed to try to beat her.
I agree with everything you just said. As we put our picks up, we are going to try to beat her in here. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if she runs off and hides from this field, but Girl Daddy has been very impressive and she's run fast. And Day Out of the Office is probably going to get the jump on everybody turning into the stretch. The mile and a 16th, maybe a question mark. I just like the way she's been handled since day one, and her frisette was a nice performance. You're going 5, 7, 1, and 3. Girl Daddy's going to be a nice price on the tote.
Yeah, I think so. And ultimately, I just sort of wanted the one who I felt like could do it from, maybe just slightly off the pace. Because I do feel like the horses and drawn in post 1, 2, and 3, they're all good. I think they all kind of want to be forward, though. So maybe, 1 or 2 of them hook up and Girl Daddy winds up in the right spot.
Perhaps the advantage for Day Out of the Office, if she isn't simply faster than them coming out of the gate, is she is outside the other 2 speeds, and maybe she can sit a 3-wide tracking trip. Should be a great race. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Again, 5, 7, 1, 3 for Mike, 3, 2, 1, 5 for me. This should be a barn burner. It is race 8 at Keeneland on Friday, approximate post 3:50 Eastern. Good luck. Bet the Breeders' Cup with the DRF app. The Daily Racing Form app is a highly rated, powerful tool that makes handicapping and wagering fast and easy, putting you in position to win big at the races. Register today to double your first deposit up to $250. Get the DRF app now.